Yeah, here we go. Yep. Just want to confirm something. Okay, so salute to Mick Jenkins. We're all Mick Jenkins supporters on here. Just completely one of the most talented rappers of this last generation, so to speak. So we did an interview somewhat recently with Angela Yee, and they spoke specifically on the fact that on their previous album, The Patient. Let me double
The
check that. So,
patience.
The Patience, yes, that's what it is. The Patient. He had two records, if you recall, or if you may or may not know. And one of them had Freddie Gibbs on it, and another one had Benny the Butcher on it, and they were back to back on the album. Now, if you know anything about hip hop, this is a very hip hop centric episode. Some of these things you might not know, but in case you missed it, Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher, salute to Griselda, they don't f with each other. There's an infamous Freddie Gibbs brawl that happened in Buffalo, New York, where or I don't know if it was Buffalo. I don't want to go spread on and things that might not be true. It definitely happened in New York. Freddie Gibbs got the raw end of the deal in that brawl. Let's just say that. And they've been beefing for a while. Super unfortunate since they are incredibly dope artists in their respective right. And it's you could easily imagine super dope records with Griselda and Freddie Gibbs on them.
They've had collabs together. I'm fairly sure.
As I was saying, that I recall hearing records with them on it too. But
Oh yeah, one way. Oh my god, yeah, that song was amazing. I forgot there was a one way fight.
but on current years they've been at odds, been beefing. So entering Mick Jenkins, talking about what his thought process was when he put these two artists on one song on an album and back to back even. Let's see what the brother had to say.
On by Freddie Gibbs, featuring Freddie Gibbs, and then Benny the Butcher right after.
Yeah.
Now, is that something you even realized when you did it? You're like,
Oh, I realized it when I did it.
okay, so you did it on purpose.
I didn't know they were both going to give me my verse.
Oh, okay.
That was the issue. I had been chasing Freddie for like a year and a half.
Right.
Seen Freddie out multiple times. He from Gary, so basically a Chicago nigga. All love, but every time I hit him to do the record, no response, which is typical in the industry.
Okay.
Niggas will dap you up, chop it up, smoke with you, but when you want to work, you ain't getting no response.
Patience.
So, exactly. So, all right, cool. Freddie not hitting me back. My label loves Benny. The label want to get Benny. I'm like, all right, go ahead, get Benny. Almost the same day we get Benny, 2 a.m. that morning, Freddie sent me the verse just out the blue. No heads up, no nothing. I'm like, damn, this nigga sent the verse. All right, cool. So I'm like, damn, we really got a Freddie and a Benny verse. I'm finna put them back to back.
Back to back. So I'm talking
So
about
I did
lyrics.
that on purpose, but I just had no way of knowing I was gonna get both of them verses because Freddie wasn't hitting me back.
Whose
So,
was better?
Freddie, easy. You know what?
Yeah,
And I'm gonna
yes.
say it too because this is how I felt. Holla at me. But I don't think Benny knew what was going on. I've done what I believe Benny did, which is pay for. I give you one of my out of a 10. I give you one of my 7s.
Okay.
I give you one of my 6s. You know what I'm saying? Because it's still gonna be fire.
Right.
I don't think Benny knew that I was about to do what I was about to do on that joint. So
Have a classic
I give him a
album.
pass because he ain't come with it for real. Freddie verse was better. I still like the verse. Obviously, it was on the album, but he ain't come. That wasn't Benny's best.
You spitting, bro. So much facts, bro. That Gibbs verse was so much better than Benny Butcher's. It's crazy.
Who's
So
Mick
much
Jenkins?
better.
Should really salute to all artists involved in this particular dynamic. But specifically salute to Mick Jenkins for the transparency. Like, not many artists are gonna come on here and tell you, give it up to
Yeah,
Lee.
I respect it, bro.
Like, usually
And
when
just
people,
say it straight up, like
usually when people ask about who was your favorite or one of the better verses on your album, people kind of dance around. I just felt everyone put it under a different piece of the equation. No, Jenkins was like, it was ready. Next question. So you definitely gotta respect him for that, and you kind of laid out how the process. Some kind of insiders, because this is probably happens a lot with different artists. Like, you ask for a verse, like you said, artists dap you up. You'll see them at different spots, different occasions, but they don't actually send you the record when they say they will. But then maybe one day they do, and then you kind of have to manage that. don't pay attention to that. You kind of have to manage that. Sorry. Oof. Out of podcast money. I have to edit that out. Anyway, my apologies. You have to manage that with what you are trying to create with your project. And it's interesting how you even kind of not pin some of it on his label, but I didn't think Mick Jenkins was so had to be such label influence. Like, hey, we really want Benny.
What label is he on, by the way? I'm curious.
You confirm that real quick if you have a second.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up.
But all that to say, again, I want to salute to Mick for really giving it up about how it kind of came together. And I guess it seems like he was effectively kind of being petty to a certain extent, because obviously he's in the know. We're all generally in the know of the beef, and the fact that Freddie gave him the delayed verse, and then the way he got the Benny verse, it wasn't like one of his best ones. I don't know. Almost like a kind of a, I'm gonna put these guys on the verses and see what the reaction is to some of them. I can't speak to his mindset all the way, but in general, I don't know. And I guess this wasn't. I just found this more interesting than anything. That's not anything to deep dive. What do you guys think of what Mick Jenkins was articulating? And do you think that because we were talking about the way artists put together projects and albums, do you think they should be mindful and or careful of this type of stuff when they're putting together albums, or is it really just like put it out the way you fully put it out and don't even care about the perception of it? What do you think, Ace? I think I started with you.
In your question,
but go ahead.
yeah. In your question, are you asking, should they be mindful of? I guess it might be the same thing. Like, should they be mindful of how people will perceive the tracks on the album in a specific order, or should they put it out in a way that they feel is best? Like, is it between those two things?
Yeah, basically. How people will perceive it, potentially how the artist, the features could perceive it, producers, everyone involved. Like I guess, what do you think is like what takes precedence in how artists should look at how they put together an album?
Okay. So I mean, like, just in general, I think, and I kind of hope, like, I think I operate on the assumption that artists do put a good amount of thought into track order. And
I think an artist like Mick Jenkins does. It's for some of your more industry, the label's doing most of the manufacturing with artists. Maybe the label's not really. Maybe the label's taking more of a step when some of these artists.
I mean, even if the label has the influence, like the influence as far as the track order, like either the artist or the label, like somebody, I perceive that, or I should say, I would expect that thought is going into the track order, and I mean, I would hope it would be the artist, and then if that's the case, that the artist would be thinking about it in terms of, like, if there is a specific artistic vision, like, say we're not thinking about features and we're just thinking about they're putting together a concept album. Obviously the track order is going to be pretty much solidified. Like, you're going to want it to be in a specific order, even if it's not a specific like a specific concept, though, for the full length of the album. I would imagine that there would be like some intrinsic level of planning or perception of the order that the songs should go in, and then I would also expect that they would think about it try to think about it from the perspective of a listener. Like, what is the best order that would kind of like facilitate the album being replayed as much as possible.
Yeah.
I would expect that's something that they would think about as well. Um and I mean I would I wouldn't have a problem with I'd like I I don't know. I don't know what should be prioritized per se. I guess that's the only thing that where the question could come in. Like, should the should the perception of the audience be more important, or the expected perception of the audience be more important than a particular artistic vision?
I feel as if we talked about something close to that when I talked about that. What's the brother's name? The brother that was talking about like artists should just focus on what they want to create instead of what the people would want them to put out.
Oh, I don't remember who said that, but I do kind of remember the conversation. Um, yeah, I mean, it's
Rick
kind of
Rubin.
tough because okay, yeah, right. Yeah, it's tough because I have listened to albums where the order of songs um the order of songs as like
You would have done it
it
different.
almost incentivizes. Yeah, exactly, because the it almost incentivizes in some situations like oh, okay, I know the first song is just I don't like the first song that much, so I start
Yep.
on the second song or something like that. Is sometimes that happens, and maybe that is the artist's like vision getting in the way of what to me like is sometimes clearly the the better order, but just from a listener standpoint. But I don't know, like at the same time I do want artists mm, to follow through with their vision because um I mean it could be something where I'm just not perceiving on the first listen or first few listens, or um I mean just in general, like if I'm listening to an artist, I'm already like there's already an element of trying to um experience something the way they intended for it to be experienced.
You're like already
So
invested.
for them to yeah, exactly. So for them to compromise when I'm already like giving myself over to an experience that they're trying to cater, it's it's probably not conducive um to a good it's probably not good for the artist overall, like as far compromising their vision um that way. But I can kind of see both sides of it at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, especially how you're trying to just kind of speak to the that different, like it's a dichotomy of the both the options. How about yourself, Ghost? When it comes to putting together an album or project, whatever have you, do you think an artist should focus on the perception of the order and how they put things together, or do you think they should just solely, predominantly focus on their vision, their sequencing, all that jazz?
Um, I don't know. I think that their vision and the way they put it together should, in theory, in their mind, be the optimal way that the album should be listened to, and by an extension of that, that's the way that the viewers would experience the most enjoyment from listening to it. I I feel like if you get wrapped up in trying to make like if you're trying to cater too much to the viewers and do things not the way that you would want to do them, but because you think it might be more commercially successful, something like that, you've kind of lost the plot, and the the project becomes inauthentic in a sense.
Mm.
Like in this case, I don't think it was anything where Mick Jenkins was trying to do this because, I mean, he obviously thought it was like kind of funny and just do it for the vibes, but I don't think it's something where, like, at least from this interview, I didn't get the sense that he's thinking, oh, the fans are gonna buy the album more because they see these tracks back to back and they know that Freddie and Benny got beef. I think it was just more so, it would be funny, and he just did it. But
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in
It seemed like
general,
it seemed like he did it out of it seemed like he purely did it for his own out of his own volition.
yeah,
Outside of what the perception could have been, but maybe this is getting too hip hop like beef backpack focus on it. But people that know looking at an album that have Freddie and Benny on it, and look they could people I'm willing to bet some people looked at Mick Jenkins funny for doing this.
yeah, and I mean, it's not like he spliced together their features and put them on the same track or something back to back.
That would
It's
have
just,
been iffy.
yeah, I mean, I think it's just something where like you notice it, you're like, oh shoot, that's kind of funny, and that's that. Like, I don't think there's any negative, outcomes that could result from this. I think
I
it's
mean
just kind of,
the negative outcomes is you don't ever get a feature from. I guess it looks good in Freddie's eyes. It might not be so good on Benny's
well,
eyes.
I mean, that's more so related to the quality of the features because I think maybe now he's not going to get another Benny feature because he said that Freddie's verse is clearly better. But if he never said one is better than the other and just put them back to back, I don't think that would have that
I
either
mean,
of them. You really think that
that
either
hip
of them would have?
that hip hop pride. If I'm Benny and I feel as if my verse is better, and then you put my verse behind Freddie's, I don't know. It looks like
I think his is. Oh wait, I guess his
the
was better.
audience is literally going to consume his Freddie's verse first.
Jid was right after Benny. They were back to back to back features.
This is
I
true.
really don't
This
think
is true,
that.
but JID is not beefing with literal. I don't want to call these gangster rappers, but rappers that are about smoke.
I think I don't know. Maybe you're right. I think you're reading too much into it, to be honest. Because
I'm just saying how the perception could be, especially with people that are really in tune with like artists and like beefs and picking sides and certain things.
I don't know. Like I get like if there was any type of subliminal in the album or in the tracks themselves, I would understand. But
That's a good point, actually.
just based off of the order, I think it's doing too much. Especially again because there's a feature right after Benny. So I don't. I don't know if that would have any bearing on this. But either way, it's like as long as you're not when you're curating an album, as long as you're not doing it just to say, "Oh, this will get streams."
Well, I
Then
mean,
I'm
all
cool
artists
with
want
it.
their music to get streams.
Well, yeah, I mean, just like for example, when artists release a single and then they release the chopped and screwed and the acapella and the instrumental and the sped up and the slow down and they put the song on the album and then they release a deluxe with that same
Jesus.
song and they drop another album afterwards that has that same song that blew up on the album and this is all real, by the way, this is all real
Yes.
artists that do this. That's when I have
Yeah.
a problem. That's when it becomes just purely transparent. But sorry, I'm getting on a tangent, but that shit pisses me off so much.
I got you.
It's pathetic.
All right, little get it off your heart, get it off your chest there. Yeah, yeah. While it's interesting discussion, I think fundamentally I was just kind of curious to hear your thoughts on this interview and this interaction with Mick Jenkins. I think obviously that album is definitely well put together. I think we, if I can recall correctly, we have data we can not we can look it up, but if I recall correctly, we all rated this album relatively well.
I might have listened to it after, but yeah, this album is super good.
I
Super,
think
super good.
I think Mick Jenkins, he's definitely an artist who I trust is gonna put together a project that's going to be sonically, bangers. Yeah, I think it's I completely agree with you. It's not too much to read into. I just can't. I don't know if you're on his team or if you're an artist team or you're in this if you're in that studio session. I wonder if you do chime in and be like, yeah, well, maybe not do it, or maybe you should think about what could happen if you do it. I don't know. I guess it's something to think
And
about more so than anything.
I'm gonna be the instigator. I'm gonna be like, you got these verses back to back. It'll be funny. I want to.
Jesus, you sound like you're the type to say somebody should put a Kendrick and Drake feature on the same project.
Yes. Yeah, back to back. Yes. 100%. That would
Fair,
be good.
fair enough. Well, if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic.
Kendrick, Drake, and Cole back to back to back.
The fact that we're never getting that ever again is so sad. It's just never happening.
This is off topic as hell, but y'all think that Cole and Kendrick are ever gonna collab again?
I think
Yeah.
I think the way Cole maneuvers, I think he has full. I think he can collab with anybody. I think he's full. I
Oh,
think
damn, you
he's
could do both.
yeah, he can collab with anybody.
Yeah.
I think if he
But-
collabs with Kendrick and or Drake anytime soon, it would look away. But he's good the way he moved.